What's up, guys? It's Talon. Today I'm going to be coaching a Diamond Varus player. If you don't know, I've been rank 1 Varus multiple times. I've played over 1,000 Varus games. I have a lot of experience on this champ, so I feel like I can provide you guys with some good value in terms of this coaching. If you are interested in coaching yourself from a rank 5 Sovereign autofill player, just DM me on Discord, Talon1169, or DM me through the link in the description to my Discord server as well, and let's get right into the video. Okay, so what our matchup is Caitlyn, Lulu.
Lulu.
They don't have any
fun.
permanent healing, so it's kind of fine to just be poking them like when they walk up, but the main thing is just focusing on hitting the wave and getting control over the wave, because into a Caitlyn, as long as we have control over the wave, she can't really poke us, but you're never really going for auto attack trades early in this lane for the most part. Yeah, and then you could just walk to the left and start pulling your arrow and just use it to hit like the person and the minion at the same time. That's usually just something to try to do if they don't have healing. Even if you miss it, it's not the end of the world because you're also hitting the wave with it. And then you have your first ability, so you're just going to pull it on the wave right away again to try to get control and get level 2.
I see what you mean, like right here.
Yeah. Because then this just allows us to get level 2 for free and push them back, and so it doesn't really matter if we hard win this lane. Don't go for trades, don't go for auto trades in this matchup ever. They'll always win the auto trades with Lulu and Caitlyn. The only time that you are going to auto trade is when you have an actual all-in angle, or when one of them is overextended without the other there. Just focus on the wave, it's fine. And since Lulu is much lower, continue to focus your arrows on Lulu. You don't want to spread your damage to both people. So.
Okay. Easy enough.
Yeah, then we're just going to recall right after we crash the wave because we have the boots. So just get the wave and then recall. I definitely would prefer to recall in hindsight, like in the bush that your teammate's in, because doing this you could easily get ganked if they do show up. So just small thing, but
okay.
I would also take wards here more than control ward. It's too late now, but like taking control ward, maybe level 1 you could do if you prefer that. But once you back, you should definitely have the wards at this point, because now you can't really get vision of the enemy jungle as well. So
okay. Oh, like walking out because I have a lane control now.
Yeah, and he'll find your like ward, so then he'll just be able to avoid it a lot easier, and you only get 1 instead of 2, obviously. Again, just pull your arrow and try to hit Lulu with the wave as well. Again, it's nice when you're always like at least hitting the wave, and then you can get the additional possible.
What's she doing?
It's fine. Our jungler's not here, and we don't know where theirs is, so we should still hover more towards kind of like the bushes, just to be a little
safe.
We're
probably weak side here.
Yeah. And just continue to play for prio and don't really... Okay. See, this is not what we want to do when we don't know where they are. Because our jungler's on the opposite side. They're full health. You're never really going to 100 to 0 someone. You should wait for your teammate to land CC and then use your CC as a follow-up more so. And only really use it as an engage tool if your teammate's like ganking you, for example, or something.
So kind of being more cautious with it.
Yeah, again, we're kind of basing our decision making more around our teammates. So if our teammate made an engage, or if our jungler was nearby, or if the enemy were obviously already low but they were full health and they had heal and Lulu shielding, there's no real way for us to 100 to 0 them. So.
Okay.
And then just push this wave really quick and recall again. We have a lot of gold, so we'll be a lot stronger. We don't have our ultimate currently, so it's not a lot we can do, and we're low mana. So for all those reasons, we just want to recall. That's unfortunate. Yeah. At this point, just stay for this wave, push it, and then recall. And again, our recalls need to be a bit further back and in a bit safer spots in the future. Since your teammate's here, you don't really have any mana, so I don't think you can do much, but you might have to stay around if he tries to over-aggress, but I'd try to recall. Just try to recall. You can't really kill them here.
Yeah. That's the problem, is the early...
yeah, sorry, go ahead.
I was just going to say the early mana problems with Varus are real.
Yeah, but it's perfectly fine because you're taking frequent enough recalls with, and it kind of matches when you want to back anyway in terms of items. So if you're doing that, you're not going to be in too big of an issue anyways. And then once you hit Essence Reaver, the mana problems go away for the most part.
Yeah.
Again, just focus on pushing the next wave really quickly, and then you'll just go see if you can go to the objective. It looks like you're not going to be playing for an objective here, so again, just play safe. Their jungler might be here, your teammates on the other, or your jungler's on the other side of the map, so just kind of hover around the bushes and try to poke the enemy, but you push the wave really quickly right now. The reason you need to push the wave is because if you're on the weak side, the enemy could dive you if they have a wave, but if they have no wave, they can't. Just go for plates now. You don't really need to do anything here. Like, you're not gonna, okay, now that your teammate's coming, you might be able to look for something, but okay. Like, generally speaking, if your teammate's on the other side of the map, just play for plates if you have your flash up and play a lot safer.
Nice. Late ult. I'm dead. Super late ult.
Yeah, you're just gonna have
I
to
gotta get out of here. Yeah.
Okay, so again, our biggest mistake at multiple points in this game is that we're not basing our decision making off where our teammates are. Your jungler was on the opposite side, which is why I told you go for turret plates instead of trying to fight the enemy at the objective, because you're just gonna get really low and probably die, like ended up happening there, right? So we would just hover towards the far right bush, hit the turret plates until the enemies start coming to us, and then use our flash and our ultimate if we need to escape. Does that make sense?
Yep.
Cool. And so now again, push the wave right away. Try to start pressuring them under their turret as much as you can. Your jungler is on your side of the map, so and their jungler ulted, so you know that this is kind of a good time to be aggressive. If you see an ult angle or an ability to do something, that you can. But just poke for turret plates and start poking them under tower every time your Q comes up as well.
You walk a dark path, Varus. We all do.
Yeah, draw the arrow in the bush and then just poke them. Because they can't see or can't react to it if you do it in the bush, so.
Vengeance is power, as is mercy.
Again, look for a possible flash ult angle because your jungler's here. So if you see an angle to flash an ult on them, now your jungler's kind of running away. So now we probably wouldn't.
Yeah.
Now we'll probably just push the wave and recall again because we have a relatively large amount of gold. Every time you're kind of 1k plus gold and you're relatively low mana, you're just going to look for a recall angle basically. Unless there's a specific thing to be doing.
Top turret is under attack.
And also with your first abilities, you need to be a bit more like patient with letting it draw back for longer, and you're kind of like dragging it really quickly, which causes a lot of misses. Just kind of be a bit more patient and let the enemy try to juke you and then just sort of shoot it right in the middle of them or just slightly to the left or right of them. Don't walk up here, it's really dangerous. Just back up, back up. Again, our jungler is not nearby. We don't have vision of areas like this. Just continue to focus on the wave. I know it seems like you're just doing a very similar thing, but the real goal is to just continue keeping our gold lead and pushing that. And then once a tower has gone down or something, we can maybe try to do something more. But their jungler's here. Just leave.
Yep.
Cool.
Engage. Danger. Engage.
Don't hover. Just first ability of the wave now. Stop with your ult. Just first ability of the wave. When multiple of the enemies are here and your teammates aren't nearby, the only goal is to clear the wave so you cannot get dove.
Ooh.
Fine. No need
I was
to
hoping
rush.
I could catch him there.
Yeah, I think the main issue with your ultimate usage though is that you're kind of thinking, I want to ult, and then you're like not backing off from that. Once you decide you want to ult, you pretty much are just doing it now. Like, it's okay to end up just not seeing an ult angle and just wait for something to show up. Like, we can just be a bit more patient with that. Holy shit, that turret is huge. Oh,
Jeez.
alright.
Try to
Yeah,
block for him.
again, just focus the
What
wave
is he
here when it
doing?
comes. I don't know, just focus the wave. Don't trade with them, you're way too low. Again, when you're in a situation like this where we're on, you know, the back foot, it's just clear the wave and the recall. Now you just leave. I don't know what your teammate's doing, but you know, it is what it is.
Hinting.
Yeah.
Easy report.
And we can't contest. Go topside right now. There's a wave topside, and we're not going to get the dragon. Our teammates are dead. Just go for the wave on topside, get the second wave, and continue to focus on getting gold. Our main goal is to become strong enough by the time then third dragon's going to come to really be able to contest.
When a fast push or slow
Push
push?
it right away. The reason that it's okay to die here, like even if you are going to die, is because the enemy are then going to be on the other side of the map. Because yeah, you're not gonna die. But that's the point. You just killed their jungler right before dragon, right? So it's either you get free waves for no reason, or you kill someone on the side lane, or they're not on the side of the map that matters for the objective. Now I would recall and start going to try to help your team, because the jungler's dead. So now you can actually go and help at the objective.
I need not humanity, yet it lives within
Oops.
Just go. Just go. It's fine.
On my way.
my torment. I faced terrors until I became.
Oh, just follow up with your team, go through the wave, and then after this next, go get the wave first, and then don't just walk in like this. Let your team walk up first and focus on the wave more, and then you can go and fight the objective right after. And also use your pings a bit more to ping the objective so your team can actually be aware of it. But just play
I'm
this
just not
wave.
doing anything.
It's fine. Alright, just, yeah, we can do drag now. Just ping drag. Go drag. Don't walk without your team, though. This is really dangerous. Just wait for your team to be there. If they're not going to do it, you just have to continue to focus on the wave and just go with them on the wave. And then once they go to the objective, you can go. But if they're going to do this, just...
frustrating.
It's alright. Really not a big deal. Like, we'll still be in a fine spot.
Jeez. See, everybody's just so disjointed.
Yeah.
Nobody's working together.
And so,
That's what I
again...
hate about this elo.
Yeah, and again, it can be very frustrating that your team is what they're doing right now. Like, I totally understand that, but there are a lot of things that we can do to make it fine that they're fucking up. Like, you could have pushed on the wave harder and played around your team, not walked into the objective without your team. Like, the correct thing is to go to the objective, but if your team doesn't do it as ADC, you can't go there. And so then you're putting yourself in a position where you want to do what's correct, but the reality is you need to follow up on your team's incorrect play, because your job is just to deal damage and go with your team, basically. And so again, go through mid. We're going to start playing a lot more through mid, because we've been a bit too much on the side at this point that our team's not taking control of mid. So focus on clearing the mid wave right away, and then we can go and help after. But honestly, just go top side here. They're fighting on the wrong side. Like, Baron is on the other side. Just get the top side wave. Don't word that. Word the Baron.
Like up that way?
No, literally at the Baron.
Okay.
The reason that you know you're really safe is because so many of the enemy are bottom side. You can just push this wave really quickly. Then you're probably not going to want to go up further, because that would be overly dangerous. But what we would have wanted to do is use this to then be able to ward the Baron side. So
They're all bot.
yeah.
Oh, not all
You
of
can
them.
try to kill him. You have exhaust. Okay.
Thought I used it.
It's fine.
I meant to use it when he first jumped on me, and
Yeah, it's because he went invis, so that it like wouldn't target him, and then it is what it is. But in terms of, obviously, mechanically, it ends up not working out there. But again, we can kind of see the reasoning for why it would make a lot of sense to go top side, because even if your team does die in bot side, which, you know, again, they are not playing well, you're still able to potentially make a play top side. We could have gotten vision over the Baron and then have potential to steal it, because that's what really matters, is the objective. We need to be focused around that, these types of things. So that's how you can kind of avoid your teammates making not great plays. And I think this is a great replay that we're going to go over and review a lot of the specifics of what we could have done, all in kind of the like through the lens of not that you're making the incorrect decision, but that you do sometimes have to adapt to your teammates being bad and these types of things. And then there's some mechanical things as well that we'll kind of speak about.
Jeez.
Those turrets do a lot. Holy shit.
I didn't. My thing didn't block it either. My
Yeah,
shield.
it's because it's like an auto attack. It like registers as that. You can probably just clear this camp here. Just clear your teammate's camp, because this will give you a mortal reminder. You end up getting it anyway. But I would recall. You're like pretty low. Just
Yeah.
recall. And so again, yeah, like at this point, we're pretty much just playing very reactively. We're gonna hope the enemy int, and then we're gonna. Okay, look, your team is getting very angry at each other, so it's probably unwinnable, but it is what it is. Yeah, just go mid now. Just go mid wave. The main goal is just to protect turrets at this point and hope that, you know, a miracle happens. Your wards, again, you don't really need a ward in a situation like that. It's better to have your ward potentially for Baron. We'll speak about vision a bit more and understanding kind of where the enemy can be, so we know when we can actually go up and catch waves and camp. But
An ally has reconnected.
Grieve with the lost. Why? No one grieved for me.
Nexus is under attack.
just ult him. The enemy are like not doing the Baron. Again, try to ping Baron, ping attack Baron to your team.
Retreat from Baron.
Oops.
It's fine. Don't walk first though. You need to let your team walk. You can't walk by yourself.
Let's see Talon waiting.
Yeah.
He's probably got this all warded.
Yeah. So again, just ping it for your team and try. You can get the Ornn passive there. Oh no.
Attack Baron.
Yeah. If your Ornn walks,
Ornn
you can
doesn't
try to
have it.
walk to steal. Because the best way to win this is just to steal it if they're on it. If they're not on it, okay. I mean, they're trolling because they keep not doing it. Okay. Okay, so obviously you see an angle there and you want to try to go for it. The problem with going for it at that time is the objective is spawning in about 40 seconds. So you're losing everything right before the
I'm here.
objective goes, you know?
Yeah.
And so even if you see a potential to kill, it just leads to things like this. And also, when you are kind of the one strong member of your team as ADC, you can't make super aggressive, especially on Varus, you can't make super aggressive flashes forward unless you see an angle to kill their carry. Because when you waste your stuff on a less important member of the enemy team, like a Lulu, then you'll get turned on, and if you die, you lose because you are the strong member of your team. And so we need to kind of understand that we need to play a bit safer when we're really the one who matters, and only take those really aggressive angles. One, ideally either when objective is about to spawn so that you can like get the objective right after, or if it's on the enemy carry that you can kill, rather than on like a less important member of the team. But I do want to watch this replay. I think there's a lot of good things to talk about, and I think it represents how a lot of people have difficulties, which is playing with really bad teammates. So I do think it'll be like, if we just watch this replay, I'll explain a lot of things to you, and I'm just going to probably write them down kind of as we go, and then I'll send you the notes afterwards. So.
Okay. All right,
And I
so we
also
should be
will
able to
say,
go
by
home.
the way, sorry to cut you off, but just one
No, you're
thing,
good.
it does seem like your mental is a bit weaker in that your teammates playing bad pisses you off, and I mean, it happens to me too, like I totally get it, but it is something that is very important to try to not let one or two, you know, annoying mistakes piss us off and kind of make us play worse. I mean, I do it too, but it's, you know, in an ideal world, we try to keep that in mind.
Yep. Support all them. I do that, man. I mean, when people do that, they just throw the games for no reason. It's just ridiculous.
I think the only one who was throwing intentionally was Master Yi, right? Like he was AFK. I think everyone else was just bad.
All right, so let's see reviews over here. Oh, yep. I didn't even think about the patch.
Yeah, no, I didn't either. That's never happened before, so I guess I'm coaching someone else today, but I think they have the videos recorded, so I don't think I'll have to worry about that. But yeah, that's really unfortunate. So I think it worked out. I mean, I do think this is something we can learn a lot from. And then one thing quickly in the top right, click the 3 bars, and then the Fog of War, make it blue, like the blue vision thing, because then we'll see just what you would see in the game. So.
Oops.
The early game generally went pretty well. I don't think there's a lot of issues. Again, like the main thing which I was emphasizing during the game is so I'll just kind of speak generally about matchups until we get into the later parts, but like into these matchups that don't have healing, you can poke like you were in this lane, and just focus on using first ability on the wave. Like even here, you could first ability right now and just first ability hit the wave and hit Lulu. And basically just focus on poking down one member of the enemy team because they don't have any way of sustaining, so your poke is permanent. If you're playing into Nami, Soraka, right, any of these types of champs, you can't do that because they're just going to heal up your poke. Soraka, you could target her because she can't heal herself, but you basically can't target someone who's going to have a lot of sustain. Instead, in those types of matchups, you're playing for an all-in angle, so usually, if they overextend without their teammate, for example, you can auto-attack and then get really good poke in with second ability plus your first ability, and then the second ability passive on them, or wait for your teammate to kind of engage. So that's why you don't want to go for auto-trades here, for example, because Caitlyn, Lulu, like Lulu's obviously buffing auto-attacks, they have the shielding, they're very good in combat in comparison to your champions, and your champions are very ability-based. So understanding basically how the matchups work, ability-based champs are going to play more for poke in lane, healing champs are going to play more for like hard trades and then avoiding enemy poke with their healing, like they don't have to really worry about poke. And then if you're playing into a healing matchup, you're looking for all-in angles. So just all these different kind of types of things are how we can understand the different matchups. Does that all kind of make sense? If you ever have questions, just stop me. But
Yep.
yeah.
No, you're good.
And then yeah, I don't know, the enemy kind of, I don't know what they were doing there. That was weird. But we'll take free kills.
Yeah, so like base, my thing is just like sometimes it's the sums, but like basic combos too. Like I think for maximum damage, you do like 3 autos, and then you do that little the hail of arrows, and then another 3, and then your main ability 1. Is that how it goes?
So if you have ultimate, you would do 3 autos, ult them, walk back, click your W, which is your second ability, and then use your first ability. And then your third ability would be something you'd use later, because your ult does also pop the stacks. But you're right,
Okay.
That's how you would technically get the maximum damage off. Now that's extremely unrealistic unless you're hitting like a tank who's just letting you hit them for free. Most of the time, the reality is that you're gonna you're gonna auto people once or twice, and then you're gonna pop 1 or 2 stacks with a first ability or a third ability, depending. Like it's pretty unrealistic to get, you know, that much free time hitting someone. So that is the maximum damage combo, but it's pretty rare unless you're in like a perfect opportunity to do it. Like if you're, you know, going for an all-in angle, you might be able to get it off, but yeah. And then a lot of times you're hovering kind of towards the river. I don't really think you should take control word. I don't take control word ever on ADC.
Okay.
In my opinion, the words are going to give you a lot more value, because if you ward like you just did there, they just can see it for free and then they can avoid it, and it's very easy, and you only get 1 instead of 2. You just get a lot more vision the other way. And then this is kind of the first like major issue we talked about. I think I'll write down most of the notes actually at the end, because specifically how I do it, because then I can just talk and explain and write them out. But your trades in the early game are not really based around your jungle pathing or around your teammates, and I think that's a lot of the mistakes that you make are you just go for plays more when you see a good angle rather than taking into account like more of the entire game. You don't know where their enemy jungler is, and you know your jungler's not nearby. The enemy are full health. They have shielding and good ways to basically not get one shot by you. So there's just not a whole lot of a reason to go up and force your ultimate. Now, if the enemy were walking into you and you're cutting backwards and then you ult them as they're coming towards you, that's fine because you're going to get a lot of poke on them. But when you have to walk forward onto them, you're taking a lot of damage yourself, and you don't even end up winning the trade very hard. Plus, your mana then ends up getting burned. So that kind of all makes sense as well.
Yep, and they hits me there.
Yeah, and yeah, a couple times our backs probably could have been slightly safer, but that's more of like a hindsight thing. It's not as big of a deal. And then we can see how we end up as well in hindsight getting in a bad situation because we wasted our ult and mana earlier, where now we don't have it, where had you had it, you could have ult flashed onto them and your teammate would be able to follow up, and then we'd have a kill angle here.
Okay.
And then yeah, again, some of these things I was obviously telling you to, so I'm not always sure whether or not you do it in the game, so I'm just going to note it, whether or not you would have normally done it. But the back timers are very important. Like I told you to recall once we had our boots, for example. That's a really, really good back timer. And then recalling again about 40 seconds before this objective because we had some items, we needed mana, and then we also want to recall before objectives so that we can be as strong as possible right before it. And then our goal once we come back to lane is to push so that we can have priority on the lane, which allows us to then rotate first or help our team first if needed. And then because we see our jungler not here, what we should do once we push the lane is pressure the turret. That way the enemy have to choose between the turret and the dragon. And since you have your flash and exhaust, you're probably, and your ult, you're not going to die. Like I wouldn't tell you to do this if you don't have flash, you don't have exhaust, right? But because you have those extra things, you can go and squeeze a turret plate or two. Whereas what you're doing here, your teammate's not really here. It's never going to work. the best you could maybe do is get a lucky steal on the dragon, but you don't have vision of it. Had you had vision of it, then maybe we could go for dragon. Additionally, walking through here like this and then not flashing until really late, or not even flashing at all, means we take a lot more damage. So you could have flashed a lot earlier to reposition and just gone for poke. It's totally okay, especially right after an objective, to use a flash, because there's no objective afterwards that's going to matter. So we might as well use all of our things. And that's kind of the mistake we made earlier, or later on in the game, when we flashed for the Lulu late in the game. It's kind of paying attention to objective timers. So you can be really lenient with your flash and your ult and whatever when there's not going to be an objective for a long time, such as here, where if it's going to save you and maybe you get a kill, that's good. But if it's, you know, an objective spawning soon, then we want to make sure the only time we waste those abilities is if the death timers will be longer than the objective spawn timer. So say that death timers are 45 seconds and the objective spawning in 30 seconds, then you can use your stuff because they'll be dead for the dragon, right? But if it's longer than that, you don't want to use it. Does that make sense?
Yep.
And then in this specific scenario as well, more of a niche thing, but your ult was coming up in 3 seconds and you had the slows. Had you waited for the slow, or for your ult to come up, you could slow them and land a free ult. Like, you can literally auto aim your ult if you slow them, and then it's just a lot easier. So
Okay. Yeah, usually I save the third ability for like anti-healing. So I'll try to throw it on the ADC at like an end of a trade or something.
yeah, the third ability is more of like a poke, or like like just throwing anti-healing. It's less about the damage, so you usually are using your first ability or your ultimate or your W, those types of things. Basically all the other abilities earlier on in the combo, and then yeah, the third ability is either when you don't have another ability to pop stacks, or when you need anti-healing or to slow them or anything like that. So yeah, that's a perfectly fine way to use it. But I meant the slow from the drops, not from the third ability. But
Oh, that's what I was thinking.
yeah, but the third ability is also can be used for the same purpose. So
Okay. Yeah, sometimes I'll get solo kills because I'll get the slows from that, and then it'll just be ADC versus ADC in the side lane. I slow them and then land ult, and then
yeah,
follow up with everything else, and they just die. Like it's crazy.
yeah, it's a lot of damage. That is another thing I wanted to talk about a little more though, is your ultimate usage in general. You're really trying to kind of force a lot of ultimates, and it's more kind of, generally speaking, a reactive tool that you can use to peel for yourself, or like when the enemy are coming into you, if they're walking straight at you, it's really easy to auto aim the ultimate, or if you want to aim it, you can aim it too. And then they'll just be walking into it, you can kite backwards. When you've used it a lot of times walking forward at the people, and it puts you in a situation where you're kind of in a lot of danger, and you're not even able to channel your first ability a lot of times to actually get the value from it. And you're just kind of over forcing it. If you do want to force an ultimate, you need to make sure your teammates are in a good position to follow up. So when you can force it, again, when your jungler's nearby, when your teammates are in a better position to engage. But like, for example, this, we don't really have much ability. Like, even if you landed that ult, nobody dies, is kind of the thing. We need to make sure that there is a real potential of death if we do ult them, or at least that we're alleviating a lot of pressure, or that there's some reason for them to walk in that direction. For example, there was no wave for that Lulu to walk on, so she's less likely to walk forward. If the wave was right there, you know she's probably going to be in a more aggressive spot, and then it's more likely that you can land that. And we can see here how, again, had we had our ultimate, our teammates go in, it's easier to follow up in these types of things. So
Yep.
but yeah, the early game is not too bad. Like, generally it was pretty good in terms of how you played it. A little unlucky, but we can see we're still even gold here. Main things to note kind of were controlling the wave and paying attention to teammates positioning, and then some of those smaller mechanical things we spoke about. But then here is, again, where I obviously have told you to go topside. So that's a very important kind of understanding of side laning, and when you can go to side lanes when it's too dangerous. An objective is spawning, which means there's a distraction. You know you can't get the objective because your jungler's dead. So you might as well go to the side lane and get gold as quick as possible. You don't actually care about dying here for the same reason that you don't care about blowing your flash or blowing something else after an objective or when there's no objective spawning. Since you know the enemy, or you assume the enemy are going to get the objective because your jungler was dead, it turns out they're really dumb, you're okay with going on the other side and just squeezing as much gold as possible, even if you die, because your death is not punishing. There's no objective to be lost, there's nothing that really happens from it. So we kind of need to understand timing our aggression and our time to go for gold in the side lane based on whether or not there's an objective or something like that. And then yeah, so this is actually, if you want to pause real quick, I want to talk kind of about
How do I pause it?
just bottom left.
Oh, wait, right here.
Yeah.
There you go.
So generally speaking, when an objective is spawning, it's important to get control over the mid lane more than anything else. And so when your teammates are all being weird here and, you know, doing their thing that they do as diamond players, we can just go through the mid lane and get control of the wave, because what this does, it forces the enemy to either react to us or they lose all of that gold to their turret eventually once we push it, and it gives us an easy way to walk into the objective with our team. So basically, since your teammates aren't here, you can't walk up further with this mid wave, but what you do want to do is push this initial mid wave that, since it's closer to your side of the map, getting that pushing will make the enemy have to either respond or they'll lose a bunch of gold. Then you can rotate to bot side with your team since they're all fighting over there for some reason. And you can start the replay now, but so once you do come to bot side like you do, you need to have a much more large focus on the wave, because this is essentially how high elo games would go, except it would be around the mid wave, not the bot wave like this one was. And the goal would be to pressure the wave, so whoever gets control over the wave gets access to the river first. Having access to the river means you can poke people out a lot easier, and then you can have vision and all that. But when you walk into the river before getting the wave, something like this happens where Garen's in the bush. But you see how had you pushed this wave right away, they'd be stuck under their tower, and then they would all have to come to you right away instead of you having to go to them. And then that's Seraphine ult is pretty crazy. And then you use your ult? I think you just missed your ult here. So
I did.
yeah.
You want me to rewind?
No, it's not something you need to rewind on unless you want to watch yourself miss it all again. You know, that's fun too. But the main thing that I'm saying about the ult usage is when you have a Seraphine and an Ornn in a team fight and a Kennen, the ult should be rather straightforward to land. Let one of them use an ability because they're longer range, they're easier to land. And then like when Ornn went in here, for example, you would ult someone. But if we use it earlier, and it looks like you were just a bit scared, which is why we end up missing it, which is relatively understandable. But when your teammates are walking forward, you have to kind of walk up with them, and then that's when you can find the ult angles. Obviously, Talon is the one fear for you here, but with your team, if Talon goes on you, he's going to get blown up right after. Again, wave first, then go here, because we see how we're getting, you know, they could come on us, for example, here. We need to go for the wave, because then either, if our Ornn is dumb like this, you would just pressure the turret with Ornn, because he's being dumb, you just have to. And if he's smart and goes to the objective, then you have someone who's safely walking up with you to the objective. But this is certainly, like, partially, obviously, your teammates' fault for really being so disjointed as well, but it's just how we can kind of focus on the wave first and use that to allow us to move into different parts of the objective, and then just move with our team from there and follow up on their CC rather than trying to make our own plays. Because that's just a general thing, is you're really trying to always make the right play and do what you want to do, but you just need to be a bit more okay with letting your tanks walk forward first, because you're putting yourself in a lot of dangerous situations. And then from here, I don't think it's winnable. Like, it's pretty much unwinnable.
Yeah, that's the one you were telling me.
Yeah.
You're like,
And so, again, the goal in an unwinnable game as Varus is usually to steal an objective and hope we win, which is why I told you to go to top side. And so I think you can just 2x speed this and we can just talk quicker, because I don't think there's like as much specific things to talk about now. Basically, the goal here would just be control the mid wave. If our team does something dumb like I'll go bot side, I don't know why they would. You just go top side, you focus on gold, you ward the Baron, and then you hope the enemy don't see you and you're able to get a random Baron steal. So for example, when your teammates all died here, I would go into that bush, like the bush to the right, like even the little deeper, like that one, and then I would pretty much just and then here we could have killed him too on a little mistake. It is what it is, but like I'm not worried about a little mechanical mistake. That happens. We all misclick a button sometimes. But the general macro understanding and like the thing we would be doing, and the reason we'd be doing this is because the objective's on this side of the map. And the way we really would win is stealing a Baron, so I would try to get into that bush, for example, with a ward, and then hope that I'm magically able to make something happen. But it's certainly, yeah, at this point, I don't think we even need to watch the rest of this. I think I'm just going to share my screen with you, and then I'm going to write some notes out for you, and then that'll be it, so. You know how to stop sharing your screen?
yeah, you're gonna ban it.
Okay. You see mine?
Yeah, hold on. Yep.
Okay. So I'm just going to start going over everything. So I'm going to think back to like the initial early game, and then we'll like go throughout the game. But the first thing is just control over waves early game. early game, basically, like, again, I'm gonna condense it, but you know what I mean. Control over waves. You know, we want prio in the lane. We want to push it as much as we can, and then try to first ability minions and an enemy at the same time in early game. And again, anytime you have questions or you want me to write anything else down, just let me know. But other things for spells, only take barrier if enemy are full poke. For early laning, or for matchups, poke enemies, focus on poke. If enemy have no healing. If they have healing, then we're going to focus more for all-ins. Go for more all-in trades, basically. Early game as well, we need to time our aggression based around jungle pathing. Because there were a lot of times where your jungler was opposite side, and then we used that to be more aggressive, and then vice versa, so kind of a little opposite there, which led to us not being in a great position. Back on important item spikes, or I'll just write important timers, such as boots, when low mana, or about 45 seconds for objective. Those were a lot of the main early game things. Then some more general things with your ultimate. Don't force ult so much. Use it as follow-up or peel when enemy are on top of you. Only use it really aggressively when you can catch a carry or your team can follow up. Because again, a lot of times we look for ultimates when our team is nearby. So general awareness of our team. Then in the later parts of the game, I think we should shift to mid lane a bit quicker and take more control of like mid lane waves when we can. And this is hindsight because I wasn't telling you to do this, but in hindsight when I'm thinking about it, I think that what you could have done a little bit earlier is gone to your bottom lane, push the wave right away, and then either recalled and gone to mid or just gone straight to mid. And then having control over mid would allow us to do a lot more because the game ended up being really centered around bot lane. So that's kind of something, just generally try to be mid lane.
Yeah, normally I do.
Yeah,
normally
it's hard sometimes if your
lead.
team doesn't.
Yeah, normally I'll get a lead, like I'll be 2-0, and as soon as I back, I'll grab my items and then head straight over to mid. And if I get a kill there, you know, I'll help for a second, and then if mid's not pushing, like if they have no follow up, it's right back to bot again because sometimes the enemies will still have plates up. So I try to keep them from grabbing those plates.
Yeah, for sure. It's all situational. Like I'm saying, like there's definitely, if for example your teammate wouldn't leave mid lane, then obviously you have to go back to bot or whatever. So it seems like you understand that pretty well. So that's good. And then the side laning thing I think is a big thing to talk about as well. Like understanding when it's okay to die on side lane and when we need to be really worried. So generally, like if your team, your jungle, or a lot of your team are dead right before an objective, I'll write a dragon specifically because Baron's slightly different but still usually similar. We can just go opposite side, go to Baron lane side, and push 2 waves. Usually it's 2, you know, roughly, where you're then getting some gold, then you can go ward like the Baron, for example, and just use basically the dragon as a distraction when you know that you can't get it because your team is not there or whatever. Just more awareness of like when we can kind of go to another side or farm something and it's okay to die. So I'll just also kind of write, it is okay to die on side lane for some golds if no objective is up. And I'm not saying that I want you to like try to die, but I'm saying like also, and if we have flash, ult, exhaust, so like in a situation where you have all your spells up, there's no real overall like detriment to the game if you do die, and the potential upside is a minimum of 200 gold from a wave, likely 400 gold from 2 waves, if like there's one wave that's coming into you and then there's a wave that will meet in the middle of like kind of the lane, and then a potential kill or anything like that. So there's just a lot more upside than there is downside when there's no objective, and when we have the ult and the flash, the exhaust, the things that can kind of help us outplay and survive in these scenarios. And then that's how we're going to kind of snowball a lead, because when your teammates are making dumb plays, you have to find ways to get a lot of gold yourself and be able to hit like 3 or 4 items by the time second and third dragon's coming up, so that you can really carry fights. So does that kind of make sense?
Yep.
And then when we are fed, we need to let our team do more. Let our team walk up first, basically.
Yeah.
And let
See,
the
I think
enemy come to us.
I think I'm fed. I can do what I want. If you come near me, I'll one-shot you.
Yeah.
No.
So it's actually, in terms of mindset, the exact opposite of what a lot of people would think, in that when you're really fed, you want to play really passively, you want to build defensively, like that's when you would maybe build a GA fourth, for example, build stasis, that type of thing. And when you're really behind, you can make, like, you could play how you did, for example, flashing on that Lulu. Like, say you were really behind and you didn't matter as much, you can flash on that Lulu, because if you trade your life for Lulu, that's good, because you're not the carry. But when you're the carry, your life matters more than an enemy life, so trading 1 for 1, for example, is not beneficial.
Gotcha. Yeah.
What other things? These were a lot of the main things. I'm trying to think if there was any other specific thing that we mentioned. The one thing on if your teammate or if your jungle is doing heralds and enemy are doing dragon, and you have all spells up and no vision, this is a very specific scenario, but it happened in the game, and no vision of dragon, then go for plates instead of trying to fight. Basically, just don't try to force things is kind of the general thing that I want you to be thinking a lot more. You're really trying to do more than your role can do. Your role is the most reactive, kind of passive role. And I'm not saying that you can never make plays. I just think our plays need to be more based around teammates positioning, objectives being up, when the objectives are spawning, can our teammates actually follow up? Are we fed? Are we not fed? And I think like all of these kind of things we talked about all align in that similar mindset. And so once you kind of find those more specific scenarios where you can be aggressive, then you'll be able to obviously like actually carry games. But does that kind of all make sense? Do you have any questions or anything else that you want me to write down or talk about or anything?
No. No, it's just I think that was a really good replay was as an example, because sometimes my supports leave me, sometimes they stay with me.
Yeah.
Trying to get the gold, and then like I like to play aggressive because I play mid. I used to play mid. I used to play top. Like I played a lot of the roles. So like I'm like, once I get a lead, I'm like, well, if I'm a mid game champ, then I need to try to absolutely beat down the enemy as much as I can to get a lead. And so that's kind of my mindset. It's like very aggressive. Like I will get in your face and I will punish you as much as I can, but
yeah,
that's not right.
And I will say, like, my champion pool is Varus, Jace, Thresh. They're all early game champs who kind of play in the similar way, right? Obviously, Varus is literally one of them that I play. And the thing I struggled with the most when I was learning these champs and getting really good at them is that I would try to overforce like on my strengths. So yeah, I was like, I need to win lane because I'm an early game champ. I need to make sure that I'm winning the first dragon fight. But the reality is having like a 1,000 gold lead by the time you're at third dragon or elder dragon, that already makes you more strong than most late game champs. Like if you're a 4-item Varus, you're still stronger than most 3-item Banes, unless you have like a full tank comp or whatever. But like generally speaking, you can still be really strong really late into the game if you farm well and you play patient. So you don't have to necessarily force as hard just because you feel like you're an early game champ. Certainly you do want to look for more plays, but you don't have to overforce basically.